Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
All right. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Messieurs and mademoiselles.
Bienvenue.
Welcome.
It means welcome, yes. Everyone knows it. We
Du
are
cabaret, le cabaret. Du
Zoom Cabaret. We are actually at a small French gourmet bistro, I would say.
It is called le Bistro Du Gourmet.
Oh.
It is a restaurant / grocery store, and so you can find a lot of authentic French delicacies.
Yep.
As well as order authentic French delicacies to eat. So I've been here many times and had the wine, I've had the beers, and I've had the escargot, and I've had all sorts of different foods and whatnot, and it's delicious. It's really kind of just a nice little change of pace from a lot of the other restaurants and experiences around here.
But more importantly, they actually have a beer selection that is unique.
Right, so this is one of those rare places, like, it's just like tucked away next to the women's feminist clothing store and the
Comic book store.
well, it's not really a comic book store, it's a comic art store.
It's a comic art store.
It's a comic art store, so it's a little different than that. And it's on this like kind of eating street that you have in Malmo.
Yep.
A lot of restaurants on this street.
And they've changed this, every summer they change this street to be no cars.
Yes.
It's a walking and slightly biking streets where there are a lot of places to sit out in the open.
But what's more important is it might be the only place in Sweden where you can get this particular brewery's beer.
And the brewery is Matten.
Matten. And it's from
Maybe Matten.
Matten. It's from Matzenheim.
Which sounds very German.
Yeah. Well, because it borders, it's in a region of France which borders the Belgian, Luxembourg, German area. And I don't know where this particular brewery is in relation to the German border, but if I had to guess, I would say probably not far off.
No. So we have gotten 2 beers from this brewery.
Yep.
And one of them seems quite limited, actually. But we'll get to that one.
Yes.
So first of all, we have the Imperial Psaïko Déclik.
Yes.
So almost psychedelic. The picture is of a beautiful woman with hops for hair.
Yes, and wheat is like a necklace around her neck.
It says that on tap says that it's like a strong ale, but it definitely tastes like an IPA.
Well, it's labeled as a beer blonde, so it's not labeled as a pale ale. But if I had to guess, I would say it probably comes closer to pale ale than other styles, even though it comes in at a 7.5%. But
It's a light hoppy beer. If you want to call that a pale ale or an IPA, then that is up to you, actually.
Yeah, but not a beer blonde.
What's funny about this beer is that it actually tastes like when you homebrew IPAs. It tastes like when you add the hops, either fresh hops or hop pellets.
See, I was thinking it tasted more like a Belgian blonde in some ways.
The flavor has some yeastiness, which would fit Belgian blonde, but the aroma is uber fresh hops.
Yeah, which is kind of a weird mix because the you don't get a lot of, I don't think you get a lot of hops profile in the flavor itself. It just comes off as kind of yeasty and clean, maybe a little sweet. I think it's a pretty tasty beer.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't know that it falls according to style.
I mean, styles are out the window when you just say blonde beer.
True.
That could mean anything. And the untapped specification of strong ale, that just means that no one knows.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like the hoppy flavor, the yeasty the hoppy aroma. The yeasty flavors make it a little bit weird.
It gives them a little more character in a way that you probably aren't expecting. Well, I mean, it is called Psaïko Déclik.
Yes.
Whatever Déclik means. I probably should translate this at some point.
Maybe.
Maybe. But overall, I think I'm going to give it 3.75.
Me, I am also giving it 3.75. Based on the... it's relying on its hoppy aromas. It wouldn't get as much if it wasn't that hoppy.
True. So the next beer is a prototype number 5 called Mr. Bombastic, because he's really fantastic. Comes in at a 9.5% ABV, and this is another one of those things. It's very, very weird description.
Bottle says beer brewed.
Well, no, the bottle says style is a triple.
Yeah.
But it also says brute IPA. Smooth, just like the silk, soft and cuddly. Hug me up like a quilt. So what's really fun about this beer is there's only 3 chickens in the world. So we will be number 4 and 5. And yes, none of them are from Sweden.
None of them are from Sweden. So this is the thing with these kind of French... it doesn't matter what the region, but this small little bistro, they have found a obscure importer.
Yeah.
That they like. They like the beers. They think that the beers complement the food or the style or the setting.
Yeah.
And no one else is importing them.
No, not at all. Like I said, you're not going to find... And there's a couple of these places in Malmo. I mean, hopefully we'll make it to some of the other little small local places that have these kind of one-off breweries that no one's ever heard of. Like there's I know we've been to Bullen before, but we should really record there because they import this from this one Czech cloistery.
Exactly, that no one else
imports from. And their rye IPA is one of my favorite beers in town. I always get that when I go there. It's not a great beer, but it's so drinkable and it's so delicious.
But they're good and consistent beers. They are obviously super commercial, but they just haven't reached Sweden.
Yeah.
This brewery actually feels a little bit like a homebrew operation recently turned commercial.
I would not argue with that at all. Okay, so the prototype number 5, which is the mix between a style, which is a triple... I don't know, a triple Belgian triple.
Yeah, and I would say it's dark amber.
A brute IPA.
It's not a brute IPA.
It is definitely not a brute IPA. On any level, you would never call it a brute IPA. Which is kind of weird that's even on the label.
But their prototype number 4 was a brute IPA. So maybe they've just reused the label a little carelessly.
And then they just changed the two big words on there. This is really boozy.
It's really boozy. 9.5%, but it really tastes like it as well.
Yeah. I mean, the booze aftertaste is really, really heavy. It's crazy.
It's really sweet. When you consider it a Belgian triple, Belgian triples are actually quite boozy and quite yeasty. That's the weird thing. So Belgian blondes, or they're quite yeasty and easy to drink.
Yeah.
Doubles are super sweet, quadruples are super sweet, but triples stick out.
Yeah.
With hoppiness, sweetness, booziness, and just like esters.
Yeah.
So I would say, yes, this is actually a Belgian triple. That is what it is.
But it has this really dry finish on it, like a brute IPA has. Like it just kind of just dries your mouth out in the final moments of the beer.
Yeah.
It's very weird. Like usually with the Belgian triples, you get a lot of esters and you get a lot of flavor coming off of it, and the flavor really lingers.
Yes.
This doesn't. This just is like, that's interesting, and then it just dies, and then it's alcohol, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. So one of my favorite triples is triple carameliet. It's usually available all around, but it's much cleaner, not crisper. It's not crisper, but it's cleaner. This one is kind of weird, and I'm having big trouble giving it higher than a 3.5.
I'm kind of the same way. It's like the upfront flavors are so interesting and rewarding, but then the after flavor is just like there's just nothing there. It's just gone.
Yeah.
It's just like, did they even have a beer? And like, oh yeah, there's the booziness that comes in the end. You know, like, and I'm feeling pretty hammered right now. So yeah, there's some booziness. So yeah, I guess I did have something. But yeah, it's not a rewarding beer.
No.
But I am
weak 3.5.
I kind of have to agree with you there. So I'm actually going to drop to a 3.25.
I get it. If it wasn't called Prototype Number 5, and if it wasn't from a brewery that was unknown to me, I would go for the lower rating. I am kind of in love with the novelty of this find.
Yeah.
It's like a hidden gem. You feel like you've just unearthed this, and no one else knows what's here.
I've been telling you about this place for like a year now, and I'm glad that we've finally been able to
haven't
get over
been
here.
listening.
Oh, obviously not. Oh. Got some free music going on there. And the girl should wear thicker pants because her black thong was really obvious.
Yes, so a light beige skirt with a black thong is a bad idea.
Yeah, those do not meld well.
No. When it comes to this place, it's actually quite cozy. The inside, there's a lot of French treats and delicacies.
Mm-hmm.
If it was any other country, you could get the wine to go.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, but they have little cocktails and nice French bottles of wine, and like I said, they used to have a larger variety of beers, but now they've kind of fallen back to some generic beers, the 1776 label.
So they had this 1665.
1665, that's what it is.
What is I know it's 1776. You're probably
1776?
I can see this point, but they had 5 beers from Matten.
Yeah.
And that's not bad.
Not at all.
I mean, they're unique beers.
For sure.
There are some hyped bars that don't have that many new beers.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, I think this is. I mean, the food's great. The ambiance is really comfortable and pleasing. Definitely, I would say try this place out if you get the chance.
When we sat down.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we sat down, it was Edith Piaf, Rien la Rien.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're in France.
Yeah. The only way it could have been more if it had been like Serge Gainsbourg or something like that. All right, so
you can find us online at wasn'tthappodcast.com, on Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, maybe soon Amazon podcast thingy, and I probably forgot many things. Spotify and Facebook and Instagram, but wherever.
YouTube.
But most importantly, until next time,
keep drinking, dum-dums.
This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearePodsyndicate.com.